up, party people, and welcome back to my channel. So today we're talking about my favorite eye tips. So I recently did a video where I shared my favorite face tips, and in that video I said that I had so many tips compiled that I couldn't put them all in one video. Like I was gonna do a video where I just talked about just random, like anything and everything, face tips, eyes, lips, just whatever came to mind, but I figured it'd just be a lot more organized and just more concise if I did it like this. So today is all about the eyes. So yeah, these are just a few things I've learned through trial and error over the years, and I really try to share new information with you. Like I don't like to just regurgitate the same old stuff over and over, because I feel like, you know, through all the tips and tricks videos that we've watched over the years, a lot of people just started sharing the same stuff over and over because they were getting it from someone else. So these are things I've learned on my own through trial and error from working on clients. I am a licensed makeup artist. I am a cosmetologist, so you know, I do have some experience under my belt of working on other people, not just myself. So I feel like because of that, because I have worked on other people, I've encountered different issues and just different problems that arise with makeup and how to combat them. So if you like videos like this, and if you want me to share more tips, whether it be face, eyes, lips, hair, skin, whatever the case may be, then make sure you give it a thumbs up to see more, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and turn that notification bell on to always see my videos. And without further ado, here are 5 of my favorite eye tips that will literally help everyone. So tip number 1 has to do with settling under the eyes. So this is kind of a face tip, kind of an eye tip, just kind of depends on how you look at it, but a lot of us experience creasing on our under eye area, especially if you're someone that likes to really layer the concealer and like to use full coverage concealers. And you know, I think we need to just understand that fine lines and creases are there. Our face is constantly in motion. So number 1, have realistic expectations. But actually one of the best ways to disguise creasing or fine lines under the eyes is just by putting eyeshadow on your lower lash line. But especially if you're using a darker color, it's gonna really disguise your fine lines, and it's just gonna help kind of fill in the gaps in your concealer. And I know this is something that a lot of us do anyway, but maybe you just put a very small amount, or maybe you just apply some liner to your lower lashes. But actually take a small brush, let me get one out, and you know, really buff it out and really soften that eyeshadow to where it'll pretty much cover those fine lines, and it's almost like an extra layer of setting powder. Tip number 2 has to do with mascara and transfer onto your eyelid or your lower lash line, like on your skin or whatever. I've always been the type, and I feel like it's because of all these videos that we've watched over the years, but I've always sprayed my setting spray after I'm done with everything. After I'm done with my eyeshadow, my liner, mascara, face, the whole shebang. And what I find to be the case sometimes, not all the time, so it just kind of depends on the formula, but sometimes I find that by applying my setting spray after my mascara, I get transfer, and it kind of makes my lashes wet to where, you know, if I'm blinking, if my lower lashes are touching my skin in any way, then I get like smearing and smudging and mascara rub off. So my tip to help avoid some mascara smearing and transferring is to apply your setting spray before your mascara. Let your mascara be your final step. So tip number 3 is kind of an extension to that. So if you are someone that experiences mascara transfer or smudging or whatever, then apply your lower lash mascara first and then your upper. Because think about it, most people apply their top lash mascara first. So, you know, we're holding our head back, we're being careful, doing the right things, and then we usually don't let it have time to dry, and we're looking down doing our lower lashes, and our lashes are touching our eyelid, and that's what happens. You get mascara transfer, you get smearing, and it starts getting all over your eyelids. So yeah, not only should you apply your setting spray before your mascara, but also try just applying your lower lash mascara first. So tip number 4 has to do with making your shimmers pop and making them look more wet and metallic without spraying your brush. We all know that spraying the brush can make a more wet metallic shimmer. My tip to make your shimmers pop even more, make them look even more wet and metallic and just really nice and shiny, is to avoid setting those areas that you're going to apply your shimmer shadow with powder. So something that a lot of us do is after we apply our eyeshadow primer, like our liquid eyeshadow primer, we set it with like a skin tone colored powder. And the reason that we do that is just to make sure that we don't have any kind of dragging issues or blending issues. You know, you're working with the same kind of textures, because sometimes if you have a cream or a liquid base and you go into a powder eyeshadow on top, you know, you can get some dragging issues, you can have some lines and just not have the easiest time blending. So we've all kind of grown accustomed to just setting our eye primer. I definitely still recommend doing that, especially if you're someone that just doesn't have the easiest time blending, but I recommend just setting around those areas that you're gonna apply shimmer. So, you know, what I'll do is I know that I'm always gonna put shimmer on the inner corner and the center of my lid. That's just my style, that's just my format. So what I'll do is I'll still set my primer, but I'll set all around it. So I'll set out here in the outer V, I'll set my crease, and I'll pretty much set going up to my brow bone. But I'll leave this entire inner portion of my lid right here completely blank of powder and just kind of keep it tacky from the eyeshadow primer. What this does is it kind of makes your powder shimmer shadows perform more like a cream in a way. It almost kind of changes the consistency and the texture of them to where it just makes them, I don't know, more wet looking. So if you do like that kind of thing, then definitely give this a shot because it really does work. And tip number 5 is a very broad general tip, but it has to do with eye brushes. Whenever it comes to eyeshadow brushes, I feel like a lot of people are very confused as to the purpose of what each brush does. You know, what's the purpose of this fluffy brush versus this smaller fluffy brush, or this flat brush versus this round dense brush. So a rule of thumb, and something that I feel like is very helpful to know, is that the fluffier the brush, the softer the pigmentation. The more dense the brush and the more tightly packed the brush bristles are, the darker the pigmentation is going to be. So just to kind of give you an example, because I feel like this is the best way to illustrate that. So this brush, as you can see on the left side or right side, whatever it is for you, this brush right here is more fluffy and it's a little bit softer and it's just overall larger. Whereas this one on the right, or whatever this is to you, is definitely more small and it's more compact, it's a little bit more dense. So this fluffier brush is what I would like to use for my transition shade in the crease, because in my transition, I don't want it to be too dark. I want it to be very light, very diffused. Whereas with this smaller brush that's more compact and more dense, I would use this for my outer V, because that's typically where I want the color to be more pigmented, more bold, and a little bit darker. So yeah, the larger and the more fluffy the brush is, it's gonna give you a more soft, diffused look. And then the more tightly compact and dense the brush is, it's gonna make it darker and give you a lot more pigmentation. So yeah, that is it for 5 of my favorite eye tips. And I do have more on this little page, so if you want to see more videos like this, and you know, like I said earlier, make sure you give it a thumbs up and comment below. And I hope you guys learned something. If you did, comment below what you learned, what you took from this video. Let's do a little pop quiz. But if you're not already, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so we can hang out and learn about makeup and just have fun and hang out together. And I will see you guys in my next one.